Imagine someone throws a brick through a bank window. Sirens wail, glass shatters everywhere. Your immediate thought is, how do we stop them? If these are robbers trying to empty the vault, the solution is straightforward. You block their escape routes, seize their getaway cars, and cut off their access to the money. But what if the people breaking the glass are the bank's own tellers? What if they are protesting stolen wages, or a manager who forces them to work in dangerous conditions? Calling the police to lock the doors won't fix the root problem. If you try to negotiate a better dental plan with a gang of bank robbers, they'll just keep stealing. And if you send heavily armed police to arrest underpaid tellers, you'll only make them angrier. Political scientists face this exact dilemma when trying to understand and stop civil wars. To heal a broken nation, they have to diagnose the motive behind the violence. They use a framework known as the greed versus grievance model. The grievance side of this model treats armed rebellion like that labor strike, but scaled up to the size of a nation. In these conflicts, a specific group of people, often an ethnic or religious minority, is systematically locked out of society. The government might legally ban them from holding jobs, attending schools, or voting in elections. Over time, the state's oppression grinds these communities down. Families are forced to navigate ruined streets and bombed-out neighborhoods, a boiling point where picking up a rifle feels like the only way to stay alive. These fighters are not trying to get rich. They are pushed to the edge to demand basic human rights, equality, and safety from an oppressive government. Economists Paul Collier and Anka Huffler looked at the data and found a different pattern. Their greed model argues that some civil wars act much more like a massive bank robbery. Imagine a country with extreme poverty, where illegal jobs pay almost nothing, but the land is surrounded by wealth, like diamonds, timber, or oil. In this environment, the financial reward for joining a rebel group and looting those resources is significantly higher than working a legal job. Warlords take advantage of this setup. They recruit young, unemployed men to seize mines or oil fields, and then smuggle those raw materials onto the international black market to line their own pockets. In a greed scenario, the rebels do not want to fix the government or run the country. Their operation is a business. They rely on the chaos of war to keep the police and military distracted, while they keep moving weapons and extracting wealth. Of course, real life rarely fits perfectly into two boxes. Warlords know they need public support to survive, so they frequently hijack legitimate grievance narratives, using the genuine anger of oppressed citizens to recruit fighters for their profit-driven armies. A conflict might start with a genuine demand for justice, but once the fighters secure lucrative diamond mines or oil routes, the motives get blurry. The war mutates into an endless loop of profit-seeking violence. So why does the distinction between a robbery and a strike matter so much? Because if the international community deploys the wrong diplomatic tools, they will artificially prolong the war. If diplomats treat a greed-driven conflict like a grievance war, they might offer a warlord a seat in the new parliament, but that warlord will reject the treaty because black market smuggling pays significantly more. To stop a greed-based war, peacekeepers must cut off the money, enforce strict sanctions, freeze bank accounts, and physically block trade routes. Conversely, if a government treats a grievance-driven uprising like a criminal enterprise, they fail in the opposite direction. When the state violently crushes a marginalized minority, they only validate the rebels' anger and drive thousands of new recruits to the insurgency. True peace in a grievance conflict cannot be achieved with force. The government must rewrite discriminatory laws, redistribute resources fairly, and dismantle systemic injustice. When the international community misdiagnoses these conflicts, the result is years of unnecessary bloodshed and prolonged suffering for the civilians caught in the crossfire. Healing a broken nation is an immensely difficult task, but the mandatory first step is looking closely at the fighters to determine the true nature of the violence, figuring out if you are dealing with a robbery, a strike, or a combination of both.